Hi everyone, we're back. I'm Jenny from jennyandbrighton.com, and as you can see, I'm here again with Debbie from Shetland Reel Gin. How are you doing?
I'm good, Jenny, and it's great to be doing this again after a few months, isn't it? It was back in October, so yeah, great.
Yes,
Delighted, willing to give it a go.
excited to be back. As you said, so it was last October for International Scottish Gin Day, but we did a few video tastings. We worked our way through the Shetland Reel core gins, which is the original, the simmer gin, and the ocean scent, which was a lot of fun, at least for us. So those are available in the home tasting kits, which were designed to be shared with your friends. However, I can't really remember the last time that I had friends at my house. So, it's quite a long distant memory. But Debbie's come up with a new plan for some tastings. Do you want to tell us all about it?
Yes, thank you for that. Yes, and the home tasting packs were doing so well, but of course, none of us can actually have any friends or family around at the moment. So we're still keen to give our customers an opportunity to connect. And I'm sure I'm finding it is really difficult not having that same interaction. So we were thinking, what could we do? How can we make this easy? So what we've done is we have got some smaller little bottles. So this is what you'll get. At the moment on the website, you can buy a pack of 6. So these, so everybody gets one each. So it's done in a pack of 6 because a minimum of 6 people really makes it go well. If you need more packets than 6, just get in touch with us and we will sort it out. So it works out at £13 a head. So you get 4 30 mils, which I think after doing a lot of tastings face to face and online with Jenny, that actually 30 mils is probably a good size because you taste it neat first and then you can make it into a gin and tonic. So you've got 4 very different ones. We haven't fixed which gins you get. Sometimes it will depend on whether we've got a new release that we want you to taste and get your feedback. So they're not fixed. You will definitely have some of the core in there, but we may throw in something a bit different as well. So, and then, so you get your packs. Once you've got your packs, because we're working with Royal Mail, who are obviously still struggling a little, and you then let us know when you would like to do the tasting. You get in touch. We set up a Zoom meeting very much like this, and it'll either be hosted by myself or one of the ambassadors, and you'll just hear us talk about the story behind the distillery and the inspiration for each of the gin, and then we'll go through it, but really trying to be interactive whilst we're hoping that you're eager to learn more about us. It's very much about you telling us what you think about the gins, which ones you really like and how you might want to try them. So you've got cards inside that tell you what else you need. She's so good.
Love we talked about these in the last video of you've got the tasting notes, you've got space to write them down. I just think it's like a really nice little touch, and also then before the tasting everyone can have a little read and kind of get a sense of what the gins are going to be about, and sort of how to do the tastings as well. I think they're just really useful.
Yes, it's funny actually, because we've got a couple of folk, a few folk have bought them for birthdays. I think maybe with the lockdown just going on so long, you can sort of park saying, oh, we didn't celebrate this or we didn't celebrate that. But now I think people are really looking for a way of celebrating it because we are where we are. So we've got some birthdays coming up, and I sort of said, so when you get your packet, please don't leave it until the evening to open it up, because you do need, just to be a little bit prepared, you need a gin per glass, you need some water just to refresh your palate in between. If you want to go sort of full on, we need the serves. You may not do that. You need a tonic, but that is all you need. But better that than just opening your packet and then everyone disappears on me for 10 minutes rooting around in their kitchen, which has happened, which is fine. If people do that, it's absolutely fine. As we're all watching
doing that, going, oh, hang on, I forgot this.
I know, and they're digging the way in the bottom of a fridge trying to find a sprig of this or a sprig of that. So just minor organisation or not, you don't do. But yeah, it's a real opportunity to do that, to get together with a few pals. And what we do is, so we set up the Zoom. It lasts about an hour, hour and a half, and then we leave the Zoom on for another half an hour for you to carry on your chat and have a really good evening. So that's how it came about, very much as a reaction to this, and how can we still be interacting with our gin drinkers.
I think that's really exciting. Like you said, it's nice to connect with people and, you know, be able to do something like this, even though you can't actually see them. And yeah, like you said, I think 30 ml is a sensible amount, because having done many gin tastings, it can all go a bit wrong if you have a bit too much.
I think it can. I think 30 ml, you know, your traditional single serve, you know, it is 25 ml, but you've got that extra 5 ml to taste it neat if you want. And you've still got an appreciation because it's over an hour, hour and a half. So you're pacing yourself a little. But yes, I think, you know, that the 50 ml bottles, whilst they, you know, are attractive, possibly after the second, you're really sort of, you know, losing a bit of contact with each other. So yes, we've gone quite sensible. Easy to get out to folk, and yep, just an easy way of having a bit of fun. Yeah,
great. Well, shall we move on to our first tasting from the little pack?
Yes, yeah. So because I was doing this, and this is the sort of thing that we do, if we get an idea of what the event might be, or it might just be friends getting together, but it might be a group of people celebrating a birthday, or who particularly like one gin, or who have maybe already chosen our core. So what I did for Jenny in her special pack, because we were tasting certain ones, in Festive Hawthorn, and I'm wondering whether I may be pushing things a little, sort of going still with the festive, but it came out, of course, in time for Christmas, which seems like about, you know, 6 months ago, to be honest, with January being so long. But so we brought it out in time, and it was a huge success. In fact, that's why. So we did do a second distillation, because this was always going to be a special edition. It won't be done again now. So I'm stretching it out, and partly because up here in the Highlands of Scotland, where I live, we've still got snow, and so I can still pretend that actually we're still very festive and loving the snowy, wintry weather. So this one, and the other thing is, this is my current favourite, actually, just very, very different. So we're still going with festive. There are some big bottles left, and that's why I've got the big bottle. This is the only thing I find when we're doing these exclusive virtual gin tasting. People are like, why does she have the big bottle? And I have to show you the big bottle, because of course, actually, with the little one that you've got, you know, there is a big difference.
Going for that feel.
Yes, yeah, and so it has like
festive.
Yes, and it's got the waxing of the cork on top, which is done by hand. So just making it a little bit special. So bottled at 40%, this one. And so we're going to go for it just a little touch neat.
You just said a little touch. I've just poured the whole thing in my glass. So
no, but that's absolutely fine. Yeah, because you're an experienced professional taster.
No,
anyway,
I drink it all neat as well. We should point out.
So yeah, so you could do that, and then why don't we do that is the way to do it. But so we would just nose it, and with this one, the juniper is really, really up front, and I think that's why it's so different from our other core gins. The juniper really, really up front.
It smells a bit like a walk in a forest. You know, that kind of like really, like, I want to say woody, but not quite woody, but yeah, that kind of like lots of hedges and.
I think it does, that tends to come through. And I think you know, when we were developing it so we decided on Hawthorn. Well, we were looking at a number of different sort of main botanicals, but we looked at Hawthorn, and you know, you look at the leaves and you look at the berries and you look at different elements, and some parts when we're working with the botanical was too bitter, but the actual berries were fine. So that's why we sort of home in. And when we're doing this, we make sort of different variants so that we can compare what is working, what gives us the taste profile that we want. And this did, I mean, somebody described it almost, because of that woodiness and that, it's like almost like a slow gin, sort of stripped back to its bare essences. That's what somebody came up with, not me actually. And actually I think it's got a real, I shouldn't say that, realness, with it that being our name, but yeah, it's, I think it's quite hard to describe, but it's just, yeah, you were doing better with the woods, actually, you were. So it has got that juniper almost punchiness at the front, and then it smooths out again. You know, with our London dry gins, apart from our gin liqueur, it's always London dry that we've made, and always a smoothness. We get, you know, complimented a lot on sort of the smoothness that all our gins have, and that sort of length of taste, that sort of, you know, it sort of stays there a little bit.
Like I said, it's really classic, like that juniper is really strong. Yeah, and you always, at least I get a little bit worried sometimes when people say they're doing festive gins. You know, you're like, oh, what's it gonna taste like? But that actually, it still tastes like an actual gin. You know, it's not overwhelming flavors, it's not gimmicky, it's like, it's a good gin with just that, yeah, there's just something to it that you can tell isn't just juniper, but it's still a classic, like you easily recognize it as gin.
Yes, yeah, I think there is. I suppose there's always the temptation when you're putting something together that you want to be different and just special for the festive season. You know, you could go cinnamon, you could go star anise, you could, and there is that sort of draw. But then you think, you know, people, you know, when they buy the gins, they're not necessarily going to drink them at Christmas. Are they really going to be wanting to be drinking cinnamon and this, that, and the other, or Christmas cake sort of flavour in June if they haven't finished the bottle? And, you know, at least with this, you know, it could last all year. It's certainly going to, for me, as I say, it's my current favourite. But do we want to try just adding a touch of tonic to see what you think? Because when this was being developed at the distillery, of course, I live in the Highlands of Scotland. I'm one of the co-founders of the distillery, but of course I haven't got to Shetland. I think it's actually probably a year now since I've been in Shetland. Everything has been done on Zoom with the guys at the distillery, and so when we were developing this gin, I would sort of just get small samples coming through as it was progressing, and so it was actually quite a long time till I finally drank it as a gin and tonic, because in the run up to Christmas you're so focused on, you know, getting this out, getting that out, making sure stock's where it's supposed to be to sell and what have you. And finally it was really close to Christmas when as my son managed to get home, as he was allowed to, for Christmas, and he said, let's have a gin and tonic with the new Hawthorn. And when I drank it, I'm like, oh my goodness, I really, really like this. And we keep it with the slice of pink grapefruit with this one. But it is, I just think it's a great gin. I'm obviously biased. I always feel as though I need to sort of say that, but it's a great gin, and it has sold. Not that a lot of people were able to taste it at events in advance of buying it, but they certainly did buy it online for sure. So
well, that shows the faith in the brand, that people haven't had a chance to try it before, but they're still willing to invest in a bottle. And
yes,
I mean, having now tasted it, like, I almost think it's a shame it's a festive edition, because like you said, it will work all year round. Like, I would happily drink that all year, not just
yes. I had that discussion with somebody actually this afternoon. Yeah, it would do all year round, but yeah. Anyway, so that's our festive Hawthorn. But yeah, the Hawthorn really makes it a little bit special, I think, that one. So yeah, but still, there are still bottles left. That one comes in at £29.50 online for the 500 ml.
And it's 40% ABV, isn't it, as well?
Yes, yeah. We've, I think, in response to, there has been research and sort of feedback from customers that really the higher gins You know, there is a move down to the sort of less alcoholic gins, I suppose, depending on your day at the moment and how much homeschooling you've been doing, something like that. I am in complete admiration for anybody who is homeschooling, absolutely. Yeah. So they definitely need the high strength gins, but this one, it always comes down to what works at what ABV, you know, and we make it at different strengths and then just try it out. Or, you know, we maybe say we want it to work best at 40% ABV, so we play around with it to get the taste profile we want at that strength. So, but yeah, that's. I'm glad you like that, Jenny. I'm glad you like that one.
It's exciting. I liked it. I feel like I haven't tasted a new gin in ages.
Oh,
I'm with excitement.
Well, that's
a real event.
And that's partly what we said back, well, after doing the recordings in October and having such a good time, and I thought, oh, you know, January is when we tend to bring out a new gin. This would be a good thing to do because yes, it's a long month for everybody. So yeah, oh well, that's good. That's good.
Well, one down and on to our second gin. I should point out we're not tasting all four in this video.
No,
it's going to be an hour and a half. Don't worry, everyone watching.
we need to pace ourselves, don't we? We need to pace ourselves.
I'm excited for the next one because I know you said before there's quite a bit of story around this one and why you created it.
Yes. So Wildfire. Now Wildfire comes in our lovely orange shaded bottle. So which is the same bottle as our simmer gin, but obviously with very different sort of labeling to make it very different from the other one. So back in 2018, Anne Cleves, who writes the Shetland drama, and I think we probably spoke about the Shetland drama when we were doing our chats, that it has done well until COVID, when things are sort of ground to a halt. It has done a massive amount for tourism, and it's been fantastic for people to see what Shetland is like with the detective series. So Jimmy Perez is the detective, and it's been hugely successful, and it's been sold all around the world. So people quite often turn up in Shetland because they've watched the Shetland drama, well as well as all the fantastic documentaries that have been filmed there too. But yeah, so Shetland drama written by Anne Cleves, and Anne was producing her last book and asked if we would like to create a gin to go with it as she released it. This was back in 2018. So slightly alarmed that it was going to be her last book, because every time, you know, I know we look forward to seeing it, you know, year on year and having the actors about and everybody getting involved. But apart from that, absolutely honoured that she came to us and said she is a gin drinker. Could we create something for her? So we did that, but actually we didn't have this at the time. We were just told the title, which was Wildfire. So just with the title, what we were trying to do was achieve the taste where the heat builds. So quite often when you're creating a gin with spices, they can be quite upfront and almost like, you know, they're there immediately. So it took quite a long time to work with the different botanicals and get that heat to build over time. So it's almost like the heat comes up at the end, because that's what we thought with the Wildfire, the heat just builds. So that was the aim, and the company is very small. The company is made up of two married couples, myself, my husband Frank, and then Stuart and Wilma Nickerson. And Stuart and Wilma are the experts in the drinks industry. Stuart is an absolute sort of icon in the whiskey industry. What he doesn't know about whiskey, he's made whiskey all over Scotland in different parts, never in Shetland yet, but that's another story, because that's where we want to get to. But and Wilma has actually over time sort of developed her expertise, and she has been producing the most recent gins. So she wanted to try and include something that could be grown locally in Shetland, because we talked last time about local botanicals, and it's really important, if possible, And our location is absolutely what we're all about and key to everything we're doing. But we are limited at 60 degrees north as to what we can actually grow compared to a lot of other places. But we have this contact with a lady who has the local market garden. And so when we're looking for something different or new, we sort of sit down with her and say, Sarah, what can we do? And so she came up with the salad leaf sorrel, because she knew that she could grow that in Shetland, UK's most northerly island. And so she said that, you know, it is a spicy salad leaf that could really work, that could give us the spiciness and the heat that we were after. And when we're creating something like this, so we come up with the idea of sorrel, right? So Wilma then sets about doing some research on the distillation of sorrel. So, you know, just so you've got an idea from other people what actually happens. Well, there wasn't actually nobody. Yes, absolutely. So that you're not going to waste hours and then find out that it doesn't. There wasn't actually any information on the distillation of sorrel. Not sure people had used it or had certainly not passed on what would happen. And so she looked at and got sort of background research on people using it in cooking. And, you know, so you look elsewhere to try and build up your knowledge before you start the distillation itself. And so we just do different trials and see how it reacts with the other botanicals. So of course, you know, like our juniper and coriander, which are the two key botanicals in any gin. And so we do these trials. We need to leave it to rest. It's not like a whiskey. That's why there's been the gin explosion. It's not like leaving it to rest for 3 years. It's, you know, a week or two. And then you get an idea of how it's going to behave. And then we test it. We usually test it with water, because we add water to the gin. Once we've done the distillation, we add some of the pure unsweetened water to it. So there's all that going on. So we were getting the flavour profile that we wanted, and it was becoming more warming as it was drunk, but we felt that it still needed a bit more spiciness. And so in the end, we actually added a touch of black peppercorns, crushed chili, and yellow mustard seeds. Ooh. So yes. So it's not as spiciness. I mean, we've perhaps all tried gins that are really spicy, and, you know, some people love them. And, you know, I've certainly tried spicy ones. It's almost, there is a spiciness, but it's not the spiciness up front. It's quite different. So we're going to try that next. So our wildfire.
You can definitely, and again, this something common nose. Like, so I don't know if it's because we've been talking about spice, but when you smell it, you can definitely smell something that's like slightly warming, I think. Kind of, you know, when you're like, I'm trying to work out the word I'm looking for, but I can't quite find it.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm excited. Not sure I've ever had a gin with chili flakes then, or sorrel or mustard.
Yeah, well, yes, yeah. So.
Oh, yeah, it builds. But when you first drink it, it's kind of warming on the tongue, but not hot. But then as you swallow it, like, oh, it's building. But it, you know, it's not like overwhelming. Like, I mean, I have had a gin before where they garnished with a chili, and I took one sip, and like, I can't feel my lips. But it's, I mean, also I love spice, so it builds, and you're like, it's building. You can feel it tickling, but it's not like, oh, my mouth's on fire, I can't drink this.
So tell me what you think when we add the tonic, because I'm glad what I said is because that was the sort of the overarching aim. I'm just reaching.
I think even just drinking that neat just with some ice would be a really lovely way to drink that.
Mm-hmm. We often get that with our gins. Jenny, people do feedback that it's absolutely fine just on the rocks. You might want to add your serve, you might not, and with this you would probably just go with a slice of orange. I mean, we always jokingly say, you know, the serve is Anke's Wildfire book, But yeah, it's I'm going to put a touch of tonic in.
No, it's really lovely because even with tonic, it's not quite as sort of potent as it was neat, obviously, because you've diluted it. But you do still get those flavors coming through, and you still got the sense of it. So it's not like it's drowned in tonic. You know, it can hold its own against it, which is, I think, personally a really good sign in a gin. You know, I hate when you add tonic and go, oh, I've lost it.
Yes, yeah. And I think tonic is absolutely the right mixer for this. You know, with some of the other gins, we quite often recommend trying something else as well. But yeah, I think the tonic still, you've summed it up, the tonic still lets the flavors come through as we want. Sometimes with our citrus gins, you know, we just say sometimes, oh, I'll put in a Sicilian lemonade or a Mediterranean tonic to bring sweetness. But this, the tonic allows the flavors to come through as we wanted. So yeah. And this one is, we don't have this one available all the time. So it's not like one of the core gins, but we bring it out as often as we can do a distillation, and we do once we bring it out, people do buy it because they're like, oh, I need to get it whilst it's there. And it is only available on the website, so you need to get that direct from us if you fancy giving it a try. It's not available just at the moment, but we are doing another distillation very soon, so it will be in February. It will be back on the website in February.
Everyone will now be poised, ready.
So yes, if people do want to know when things are coming out, you know, we do try and keep that communication going. So we send out newsletters to our loyal customers and those who've signed up. So you will get to know once it's there, because when we do a distillation, is only a fixed quantity. So it's always good to be in the know if you want to get ahead of everyone else. But yeah, no, I'm glad you like that one. It's just that bit different with the spiciness, but not overly spicy, I think.
Yeah, again, like it adds something, but it doesn't like overpower it. It doesn't, again, it's not becoming gimmicky because, oh, it's got chili flakes in and it's got mustard seeds in. It's adding to the flavor, but it's not like rubbish. you know how some gins make a big deal of their botanicals and the taste is not so good.
Yes, yeah.
I
think it's easy for me to sort of add my thoughts on how good it is, because I'm not the distiller. I don't create these gins. You know, it is Wilma quite often. She has a small still and she'll do experiments, and she'll be doing her trials and working everything out in her kitchen at home, which you have to have HMRC approval to do. Just before you all think you can rush out and buy your own still, it is still regulated. So she's doing that and she's playing around and creating new things. And there is such skill in that and understanding what you're trying to achieve. And then, you know, choosing really good quality botanicals as well. It all comes into being able to produce a really good gin. But they do it, not me. I tend to focus on sort of the marketing and the events and things like this, which I love doing. So I can add my praise because I'm not actually the distiller. I feel, rather than just saying, oh, gins are fantastic, which they are. They are absolutely, you know, and always so smooth, no matter what ABV we've decided to do or whatever, just always really, really smooth.
Yeah, definitely. Even when we're drinking them neat, like super easy to drink neat. So yeah, sign of quality.
Thank you.
Well, I was about to hold up a bit the tasting pack again, but I've basically destroyed mine in doing this. But people can buy theirs, and it can look like Debbie's. It will look much nicer when you haven't scattered it halfway around your study like I have. So yeah, suppose they're available from your website. So it's a way that you and your friends can drink together like this, but probably better than I've articulated anything. So yeah, so I think people should give it a go. I mean, Debbie's lovely, obviously. And you get to drink like what's not to enjoy. Well,
exactly. And it's another opportunity for me to talk about my gins, which I love doing regardless. And if I'm not there, you know, our ambassadors, we choose our ambassadors very sort of carefully. They either have a link to the co-owners, the co-founders, so that there's a reason, or they have a link to Shetland, or we try and do that so that they're bringing something a little bit different. We have some younger ones as well, so if you particularly want somebody younger and bring a different sort of influence, you know, we can try and do that too.
Brilliant. Well, I think we'll wrap up that tasting now, but yeah, obviously make sure you check out the Shetland Reel website. You can check out YouTube for our previous video tastings where we drank our way through the other tasting kits, which are also still available.
Yes,
if you want larger bottles on your own. Well, thank you very much, Debbie, for that, and cheers.
Cheers. That's great. Thank you. Thanks.